talking about the arc of history and what this means and what Georgia means. Professor Cobb, you laid down some hard evidence and facts with me on the phone prior to this conversation that I want you to share with the public, with the community, on actually what happened, where the term cracker came from, all of that good stuff. But what this means, what Stacey Abrams was able to do in Georgia and the Senate race, speak to us about that, because that also is fuel to what we saw yesterday on the state capitol.
And that's why I did the Instagram Live yesterday, because I had to do it. Because January 6th, the Epiphany, remember, Epiphany has another meaning too, not just as it relates to religion. Epiphany is when you come to an understanding.
Correct.
It comes like in education, we call it an aha moment. When the light bulb goes off, that's an epiphany. It's a stargate.
Yes.
And once you walk through the stargate, you never go back to who you were before. This is the whole thing behind Freemasonry.
That's right.
Once you rap on the door and they bring you in and you have the code word, you never go back to being the person that you are. There is an ascendancy, like the Sirius star that ascends into the heavens. This is what we're talking about. And the idea was that yesterday, January 6th, two major things happened. Because even with the election of Biden, because guess what? That's black folk. See, we are powerful. With everybody else, and everybody else had something to do with it, but make no mistake about it, it was black folk that made this happen. Joe Biden was dead in the water in his campaign. James Clyburn took to the microphone and made a presentation. And in that presentation, he invoked the wisdom and the life of his wife, who had joined the ancestors previous. Sisters in South Carolina took that message of James Clyburn, organized themselves, and with African American men, African American women, like Jesus brought Lazarus back to life, black people brought Joe Biden back to life.
Right.
He was dead.
Yep.
Like the phoenix that rises up out of its own ashes. That's what black folk did. Now, again, I understand people feel a certain way about politics. And
sure. That's why I want to have that framework and preface.
Yeah.
Don't get emotional and personal about this. Look at it from the science.
I'm talking science here, family. I'm not talking personal. And I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm just asking you to think about your power, who you are, and what you can do. Brought him back to life. And then all of a sudden, here we are. Now, he won, okay? And he won because I was up all night. You know, like I'm not going to bed till about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. I operate at night. I don't, I sleep during the day and I operate at night. Mm-hmm. I'm a panther on the prowl at night. But the idea is that I stayed up the night of election night, November 3rd. And I saw the three major places that they said he had to win. Joe Biden. Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And then what did I see in Wisconsin? I saw Milwaukee. What did I see in Michigan? I saw Detroit. What did I see in Pennsylvania? I saw Philadelphia. Black people put Joseph Biden in the White House. The story's not told yet.
Come on.
Because that means nothing if you don't have the Senate. And of all the places for everything to rest on, it rested on the state before it was called the Peach State. It was called the Cracker State.
Bring the history.
Georgia was a penal colony where they sent all of their Africans that could not be controlled, and where they sent all their white criminals from Europe, there and Australia. And they named this area, one of the colonies, after the cray-cray, the crazy king of England named George. That's why it's called Georgia. It was a bastion. You talk about Sherman's tanks during the Civil War and what they did in Atlanta. You talk about what they did in terms of Georgia to black people. You talk about the land of Lester Maddox. I lived during that time.
Come on, Colin.
So I'm telling you a history that I know of intense. If Seton lived and created a city in which he was in charge, it would have been Georgia. So to think that the future of the world and America is going to depend on who is elected in this election. I used to tell my wife, I used to say, you know, I have something to say, but I'm not going to say it until I can actually see it, because it is phenomenal. It is a phenomenal story. In this state, where a penal colony, see, this was before they had a lot of guns. So for you to be a prison guard, you had sticks and you had whips. And when you whop, you cracked the whip, you were known as a cracker.
That's where it comes from, family. Get your history. Let's get it. Let's get it. Come on, Copper.
People of European descent very proud to say, I'm the best cracker in Georgia.
That's right.
Georgia was called the cracker state. It didn't have nothing to do with your culture. It had to do with the fact that it was a penal colony, and a cracker was known as someone that held tight and made sure that the imprisoned stayed in line. And so to think of these two senators, one of them that Reverend Warnock competed against, she was the richest senator in government. John Ossoff was up against a man whose family had been part of Georgia's government for generations. Now, did you ever hear the story about David and Goliath?
Come on.
God just said, just take the rock, put it in the sling, and let me just guide your hand. See, I can take all Bible scripture. That's why I say I don't have problems with religion, because I can take all those scriptures and I can Africanize them.
Absolutely.
I can take
every, from the first place.
Exactly, and I can take every gospel song and I can show you the Africanness of that gospel song. That's why it's so beautiful. Wade in the water, Amazing Grace. That's amazing. To think of who wrote that song, and we keep singing it. But to think who wrote that song, a captain of an enslaver's ship that looked at what he was doing, and he wrote a song about how wretched, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. That's white people talking to themselves.
Right.
All them people there yesterday, there were some amazing graces over there.
Right. Some wretched ass bitches, I'll tell you that.
Hey, that's what that is. Wretched of the earth. Isn't that French for none? So,
open it up for